So yeah, challenging morning for the broadband. I think we had like four simultaneous video calls going on. But guys, anyway, I just thought I'd quickly share with you a little bit what's happening with the team and stuff, and sponsors 2022, all that kind of stuff. Look, it's a real challenge, and I always say this under the proviso that this, I realise that people are struggling far more, etc. But it is a real challenge to run a bike team in 2022. There is a lot of interest in cycling. There's obviously huge demand in like the infrastructure of cycling, in the equipment side of cycling. You can't even get a bloody group set. We do a lot of things well, but one thing we don't do well is engage corporates. Never have, and I don't want to say never will, but I worked a little bit with a brand person earlier this year. How did we make this more sustainable? Bring in that big corporate dollar. And the brand person looked at it and just went, well, you need to ditch the YouTube stuff, like all that kind of thing. It doesn't sit well with corporates, which really blew me away, because here I was thinking that, this kind of audience would be, really useful for a corporate. They could see that and go, we can get our branding on that and all that kind of thing. But no, it's actually the opposite. From what I understand, a corporate level investor really wants just the shiny, pretty, finished, polished article. They don't want this. And in 2022, you will see some new guys come on board, and that's the direction I'm trying to take the team with Luke, is to bring in people who really value, I suppose, this audience, the individuals, the personalities in the team, and are able to, I suppose, leverage that essentially for their own corporate dollar. So yeah, I just thought I wanted to share that with you, because yeah, it's a slog. It's a slog. Yeah. Anyway, all good. Still raining. While we're thinking about just the sport in general, teams and like all that kind of stuff, there was a lot of commentary around the women's Paris Roubaix and the men's Paris Roubaix and the issue of equal prize money. And it's interesting because I think there's a little bit of similarity in that and the way that it's being framed to our level of racing and how to progress it. To me, the level playing field starts with the broadcast. You level out the broadcast and you have a level playing field. And by that, I mean, like, you look at what the broadcast was for the men's version and women's version. The women's version, we barely saw anything. It was just this last 40 Ks, and you're like, well, what the hell was that? And that's simply not good enough. And the way that breaks down really to our level of racing, and the way I look at our level of racing, and it comes back to a little bit of that thing for sponsorship that we were talking about this morning, is like, it's all about eyeballs first. Like, mucking about with like $500 or $600 worth of prize money at domestic races is a waste of time. It's a complete waste of time. It doesn't pay for the petrol to get halfway there. You looked at, what happened to Tour Down Under this year and the way that it turned into that domestic event, which had broadcast rights. Best event of the year for us. Best event of the year. No prize money, none, but best event of the year, because all of a sudden we were put in front of people. And you can then take that to sponsors and go, well, look, here's us. We have platforms to do that. I mean, GCN is the perfect example of a platform that can just distribute worldwide. All of a sudden, you've got an audience. And I reckon if you asked any rider, even like the cheapest ass, most basic rider out there in Australia, they would take that exposure over $600 any day of the week, because their goal is to get their name in front of DS at Quickstep or whoever it might be. And the way to do that is to be seen on TV, not like on a results sheet with you holding a $600 check. It's not the case. Anyway, so eyeballs, broadcast first, then we worry about prize money. That's the way I look at it. much luck with this, are we? So much for Freedom Day and getting back on the bike, and we're all happy and Larry, and I'm going to talk bike riding, and just whinging about bad weather and bike racing and the current state of things. Anyway, I promise tomorrow we'll go for a bike ride, a proper one. I've got some time and I just don't care. Let's go get wet, right? But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go hit the weights. Something I haven't done, obviously, all lockdown. I do see pop up a bit in the comments. I do find with the strength stuff that it's very polarizing in the sense that, like, it's the answer to everything or you just don't do it. I think a lot of people that really get into it, how do I put this? Cycling's an endurance sport. Like, you need to be spending the majority of your time concentrating on the endurance aspects of the sport. This element to it is the 1%ers, really. It's a little bit like the bike fitting thing, though. Like, it's not the 15 watts on your threshold. It's the same. For me, it's very much the same. It's injury prevention, and it's mental. Like, I like going in and getting that satisfaction, that different hurt that you're going to get from pushing a few bars. Is that even what you... Oh, see, there you go. See, there's the current cue. So until that barber cue drops to maybe 2 people, you're just going to have to put up with Chris in a hat. Because you're not seeing Chris without a hat in the current state. I did see my cousin this morning, and he's in a worse state than me. So this runs in the family. It was good to see him, I will say that. It's great to see the man himself. Matt, shout. Don't know if you still watch, but yeah, it's terrible. Terrible. Tell you what, fair play to the people who were using treadmills with masks on. That would not have been much fun. So yeah, I had to prove my vaccination status before going up there, and then again when I went in, had to prove it again, which is totally cool, fantastic, all good, happy with that. But it's interesting because as you guys might know, I follow a lot of American sport, right? So I'm super into it, and one of the main things I'm into about it is all the off-field stuff, all the drama, all the management of it. I just find it fascinating. There's something going on at the moment that you might find interesting in that regard as well. It's to do with a player called Kyrie Irving, and he's like one of the top 5 players in the league at least, and he's unvaccinated. And there's a real interesting story unfolding at the moment with him being unvaccinated, because he's not mandated by his team to be vaccinated, but there is a mandate in New York City where he plays to be vaccinated to enter indoor arenas. So it's not actually the NBA, it's not actually his team that are mandating it, it's the venue that he plays in. And I actually think that's potentially where we're going to see a lot in the next 12 months. It's not going to be your team. It's not even going to be like your federation or anything that's going to mandate stuff. It's going to be the location where you go that does it. So for example, let's say it's a mass participation event. I don't think it'll be the race organizer. I don't think it will be the promoter. I think it would be like the city council and that kind of thing that may force that upon the people who enter. So anyway, it's an interesting one. It's Kyrie Irving. Check it out. There's also a whole other thing happening with Ben Simmons at the moment. You've got to pay attention to that. Then you've got the John Gruden stuff. Guys, get on some American sports. It's literally the best entertainment there is out there. That's about it. This is the bit where I tell you to like and subscribe. But again, I'm really enjoying doing this. All shot on the iPhone again today. I'm really trying to work out what to do with the audio situation. I think we're getting better day by day. Yesterday was a pain in the ass trying to put that together, but I think we got there in the end. Keep your questions coming, and we'll get onto them as we go along. Make sure you follow Jesse Coyle. Get on the Nero Racing pages. Find us a corporate sponsor, and we can all just have fun. Alrighty, talk to you soon, guys.